Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Today we're going to talk about some of the display dilemmas we're seeing in AR. Of course, there's a ton of excitement today about AR glasses, and primarily driven by this product. I'm sure we're all very familiar with this. What's so exciting about this platform is, like Bernard was saying, this is going to be the best human-machine interface for multimodal AI. You can see what we see, you can hear what we hear. It's always available to us. And there's great success in the market from this product. Like, we're seeing, I believe, over 3 million units sold of the current Ray-Ban Metas. In fact, what I've heard is, even though it's a limited release, it's not sold worldwide, it is already the #1 selling pair of Ray-Bans, period. #1 selling glasses, not smart glasses, but Ray-Ban glasses, which is pretty exciting. That being said, there's no display, right? And I think people are very eager to add displays to these, and adding display is probably the most complicated part of these type of products. So the question is, what is the right display that we're going to use? And today, if you're going to ship a display, it really comes down to two choices that are really mature. You have LCoS on one side, and you have the developments of microLEDs. And the reason why you're looking at these two display choices is quite simple. Assuming you're going to use a waveguide, waveguides we all know are incredibly inefficient, so you can only use displays that are bright enough to power a waveguide, and really it comes down to this choice, LCoS versus microLED. Now, we've been, of course, LCoS is a very mature technology, but there's a lot of very exciting developments that we've done, but also the rest of the industry. But we're seeing a lot of customers today who have tried the microLED route, color or green only, and they're seeing a lot of challenges, and they're coming back to LCoS technologies because they're starting to recognize the benefits of this technology in the near term. So I wanted to share some of the feedback that we've seen, that we're hearing from our customers, some of the challenges that we're seeing in the space when you're making this decision, and why we think that LCoS is the right decision, at least for the near term, if not the long term. Now, the thing that always excites people in microLEDs from the very get-go is the size. People are very attracted by how small these microLED engines can get. And if you look at full-color microLED engines today, these are generally X-cube combiners, 3 panels, and they typically can advertise sizes of 0.2, 0.3, 0.4 cc's. And that sounds incredibly attractive. But when you actually look at how these engines are implemented and integrated into a product, the story isn't so clear. When you look at a volume of an engine like this 0.2 to 0.4 cc volume typically is only the optical volume that you see inside this engine. When you actually integrate the other things that are required to drive this thing, the size starts growing. The integrated size starts growing. You have required memory chips for demirror correction. You have many connectors when you're looking at these multi-panel solutions. And of course, we all know these microLEDs are incredibly sensitive to heat. So having a great thermal mitigation, having heat sinks is really important to even get these things to operate at a reasonable level, reasonable APL. And Bernard touched upon this as well, which is microLED panels, surprisingly, can be quite reflective. And so when you're coupling this, especially with the diffractive waveguide, you need to think about the ghosts that are coming back from this diffractive waveguide. And ghosts will just destroy an image. So what ends up happening is you have to typically, either you're angling the entire engine to minimize the ghosts, or you're cutting out light from the pupil to try to minimize the reflection back from the waveguide. Either is not a great choice. But you see, you start from this, let's say, 0.4 cc size, and you end up with an effective size that's well over 2 cc's. So the story is not that clear. In fact, we took an engine out of a shipping color microLED product today, and this was a 0.4 cc engine, and we pulled it out, and we took some photos, we did some measurements, and you can see all the little requirements that have been added to this type of engine. You have the demirror correction chips, the connectors. You see there's about 1 millimeter of copper wrapped around this entire engine, and there's this interface angle that's required to reduce ghosting in this system. And we measured this volume here to be about 2.3 cc's. This is an example of a realistic engine when you're integrating into a pair of glasses. Now, when you look at the ghosting side of it, typically diffractive waveguides are the common choice here. And diffractive waveguides typically have quite a bit of a back reflection from the input coupler. So when the microLED panel is projecting